Welcome back to my chronic illness journey, part 13. um, so, uh, well, everything else was going on. The thing that had sort of started it all was the swelling all the way back before they discovered the neutropenia or any of my other conditions was the swelling of the legs. And that had never gone away. It had grown worse. The pain had increased. They'd stopped going down at night. Um, you know, they started to get like it was harder to move them. It was hard to like it just sometimes was just really hard to even just to lift them to like climb steps and stuff. Like it things got hard with that. And it just got worse and worse as the years progressed. And finally amongst everything else, I was like to my PCP, like, my legs, Um, and uh, they said they wanted me to go to a lymph specialist. So the journey of this was the first one they assigned me. I went in, I did the preliminaries with, she said, you need to get some compression socks, some new compression socks, because she said they tend to die after so long that you're not really supposed to keep them more than 6 to 9 months. You're supposed to be replacing them because they lose elasticity and then they're not as useful. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I had no job. That was before the new job at the call center. I had a family member help me out in getting some compression socks. I called back and they were like, we no longer take your health insurance. Great. So I went back to my doctor and she sent me to someone else. This person was it was in one of the other cities. It was another 2-hour trip, but I was like, it's whatever. But every time I called them, they were like, we don't have you're not on our list to having been referred to us. I called my doctor back. They send the paperwork. I called them back. We don't have your paperwork saying you're referred to us. And after a while, I was like, screw this. Is there anyone else? So she sent me to a third person. Well, the third person I went to see was actually in just a physical therapy, and they were like, we actually can't help you if this is lymphedema. You have got to see a lymphedema specialist, and we don't have ours anymore. I was like, I told them all about like the one stopped taking it, the one I couldn't, the paperwork. I was fed up with them, not the paperwork, troubles with the paperwork between them and my doctor's office. They actually called around for me to all the places in my county, in my area, direct area, the cities, my little town and the county I was in. And they came back and said, absolutely no one will take you if you're not pre or post-op. Because here's the thing. It's kind of weird, but a lot of my conditions are things that a lot of people who have cancer and go through different cancer treatments get. Lymphedema, neutropenia, hypothyroidism are all things that a lot of people go through when they get cancer, and sometimes in relation to different cancer treatments. They had tested me for cancer so many times. I had never had cancer yet. A lot of my issues were things that people with cancer get. And so because my lymphedema was not pre or post-op, which is, there's an operation that a lot of cancer patients can end up getting. That's why they get lymphedema. Mine was not related to that. They were not take me as a patient. So I was like, so I went back to my doctor again and my PCP and was like, look, this is what everyone is telling me. They called around. She gave me another number. I called them and they're like, we can't take you if you're not post-op. I was like, are we serious right now? So I called back my PCP. I'm like, look, they said nothing without pre or post-op. So we ended up going to the to a third city, which was another like hour and a half drive away. But at this point, I knew how to get uh, rides for medical appointments. Uh, and the I went in, and I understand that this is what started it all. It went from, it took, I've been telling the doctors for so long, they swell, they hurt, they stop going down now, and you know, there's chronic pain. I'm struggling with their movement now, and I a lot of times have been made to feel like I was crazy, like I was lying, or I was crazy, or it was all in my head. So when I sat down finally at this lymphedema specialist, and they hand me this paperwork to fill out, and every question on the paperwork were all the symptoms that I've been telling people for so long. The swelling, the pain, do your legs feel heavy and you have trouble lifting them? Like, it was all there, black and white. And it was so validating, but also so frustrating, because from the time the legs first started swelling to the time my PCP finally put down edema, it was 10 years. From the time it went from edema to lymphedema, it was another 10 years. This was a 20-year journey to finally have this diagnosis. And so it was validating to see all these symptoms that for so long had plagued me, and also one of the most frustrating moments of my life, that for so long I had been telling them this is wrong. And there they are, black and white, on this paperwork for the lymphedema specialist asking me about these things. So, and she told me it was not a unique journey, that lymphedema is not well known among a lot of doctors, and what exactly the symptoms and conditions are. And so she looked me over and she told me there are 3 stages, and I was stage 2 non-pitting, which meant that it was not good. And if I ever see signs of stage 3, which I'm supposed to constantly be on the lookout for, I'm supposed to get my ass to an emergency room. So I was supposed to get special wraps to go around my legs to help pump out the liquid from the lymphs that had drained into me. And those, once they go on, they're supposed to be like 24/7, and then you change them as your legs deswell a little, and start to deswell. And I was supposed to start that treatment back in October. And of course, I moved across country. I don't currently have a specialist, and I don't currently have my wraps. So all that we'll see how the rest of that journey plays out going forward when I finally get my health insurance and I start going back to the specialists. Am I done? No, we're still not done with this journey. Stay tuned for my chronic illness journey part 14.